Hello, dear viewers of the show, Single Mother Hoaya Ca. Today, we are about to dive into a thrilling, intense story about Hung's mother, a woman who is willing to do anything to harm Hoaya Ca. Her plot almost took Hoaya Ca's life, and it was only when the police discovered it that the truth began to unravel. The question is, can the police stop her in time and bring Hung's mother to justice? Will the truth come to light, and will the mother have to pay for her crimes? The story becomes even more complicated as unexpected developments continue to emerge. The police have relentlessly pursued her, even knowing that she is highly cunning. They have uncovered vital clues, but will they be able to capture the culprit in time? Meanwhile, Hoaya Ca remains haunted by the bloody attack, constantly worrying about her safety and Tony's. All hope now rests with the police. Can they handle this devious mother and bring her into the light? Will Hoaya Ca ever find peace after all the suffering? The story keeps getting more intense, and it surely won't disappoint you. Please leave a like and follow the channel to keep up with the latest developments in this quest for justice. In a confined room, the atmosphere was filled with tension as the task force gathered to plan the capture of the suspect. The chief of police, along with the officers including Hùng, were all present, serious and ready to face the challenge. Their eyes were filled with determination, each one fully aware of the seriousness of the case and the need to avoid any mistakes. The chief of police stood up, scanning each member of the team, then began assigning tasks. Each member had a specific responsibility, from tracking new leads and identifying suspected locations to preparing contingency plans for any unexpected situations. Everyone understood that time was critical and every second counted. After the tasks were clearly assigned, the chief of police lowered his gaze, his voice stern. "We cannot let the suspect escape again. We must act quickly, accurately, and decisively. Everyone be ready and begin executing the plan." The order was given, and immediately the task force members dispersed, each with their own mission, putting all their energy into completing it. The situation was tense, but they all knew that only through seamless coordination and high determination would they succeed in this crucial mission. In recent days, Hoaya Ca has gradually regained her spirit and continued with her daily routine. This morning, like every other morning, she woke up, stretched, and walked into Tony's room. With gentle movements, she wiped her son's face, then fed him breakfast. Her eyes full of love as she watched her little boy sitting in front of her. This simple moment, though small, was incredibly precious to her. It was a source of happiness and comfort amidst the busy life. Hoaya Ca sat next to Tony, watching him eat, but deep down she couldn't help but feel anxious. Although the wound on her head from the scuffle with the thugs the day before had healed, the worries of life still weighed heavily on her. She recalled the difficult days when she had to struggle alone with everything. But now, with the support of Babe and Ha always by her side, she felt somewhat more at ease. However, Hoaya Ca knew that life was not always easy. Even though she had help from Babe and Ha, she couldn't rely on others forever. She understood that in order to truly feel secure and not be a burden on those around her, she needed to stand strong on her own, take control of her life, and take care of herself and her children. She was determined not to give up, no matter what challenges lay ahead. As soon as Hùng received the call from his boss, he didn't have time to think for long. He quickly packed up the remaining work and rushed to the headquarters. A sense of tension spread through his mind as he realized that this task might be related to his mother. He couldn't have imagined that the stories his mother had told him would put him in such a difficult situation. Everything felt like a nightmare, and worries piled on top of each other. Upon arriving at the headquarters, Hùng hurried into his boss's office. He couldn't hide his anxiety and immediately asked about his mother's situation. His boss looked at him seriously, then sighed, admitting that they had found her near the border area, an area known for its complex and dangerous activities. This made Hùng even more confused and fearful. His boss informed him that the department was short-handed and needed help with critical suspects in the case, and Hùng was one of the people who could assist. However, this situation tortured Hùng. He couldn't abandon his mother, but he also knew that if he participated in the case, he might not be able to save her. Hùng stood motionless, his mind racing with conflicting thoughts. He didn't want to confront his own mother, even though he knew that justice had to be served. His maternal instinct made it impossible for him to relax. He couldn't stop worrying about her. Finally, Hùng decided to ask his boss if it was possible to withdraw from this case. His boss, though the leader, was very understanding. There was no blame, just an empathetic understanding and gentle reassurance. His boss looked at him with a knowing gaze, saying that everyone had their own responsibilities and sometimes had to face difficult decisions. He promised to find a solution that would be reasonable so Hùng could feel at ease. With the boss's comforting words, Hùng walked out of the office, his heart heavy. He couldn't forget the worried look on his face as he walked out. His mind was filled with thoughts of his mother and what might happen in the future. He knew that this decision was not an easy one, and now everything was just a matter of waiting for the next step in this story. When Hùng returned home, the quiet atmosphere was suddenly shattered by the roar of a motorcycle. Two thugs stopped their bike right in front of the door, and the heavy footsteps echoed on the tile floor, making the tension in the air even more palpable. Suddenly, a loud voice called out, "Where is Mr. Hùng?" Hùng flinched, his body instinctively shaking, but he quickly regained his composure. His heart pounded in his chest, but he couldn't let the fear show. He hurried outside and saw two men standing there, their eyes filled with a threatening glare. Though terrified, Hùng tried to remain calm, not letting panic affect his decisions. The leader of the thugs didn't waste any time getting straight to the point. He looked Hùng in the eye, his tone cold. "Your mother owes me a large sum of money, and now you have to pay it back for her." Hùng stood frozen, the truth about his mother's debt, leaving him feeling overwhelmed. It wasn't a small amount, and paying it back wouldn't be easy. But he couldn't let the situation escalate any further. He couldn't let his mother fall into a dangerous situation. Though his heart ached, he still tried to stay composed, looking directly at the leader and saying, "I understand, but I need 2 days to arrange the money. I promise I will pay you the full amount." The leader sneered clearly, not trusting Hung's promise. He angrily yelled, "Do you think I'm a fool? A promise is not enough. I want this house." Hung knew that if he didn't agree, the situation would get even worse. Their threats were pushing him into a corner, leaving him with no way out. He couldn't let them take the house, but if it would protect Hoya Ca and Tony, he would accept it. He thought for a moment. Then finally, with a firm but determined tone, Hùng replied, "Fine, I'll give you the house. But in 1 month, I'll find the money and pay you back." The leader didn't object. He smirked and said, "Good, I'll give you a chance. 1 month if you don't pay the full amount, this house will be mine forever." He turned and motioned for his men to leave. Hùng stood there watching the backs of the thugs as they walked away, feeling empty inside. This house where he had shared so many memories, where he had endured so many tough days with Hoài Ca and Tony, was no longer his. The mixed emotions inside him made him feel like a failure. He turned and walked back into the house, but the atmosphere was different now. Everything felt uneasy. Hùng quietly packed his belongings into a small suitcase. Each step felt heavier than ever. The house, once his home, no longer had a place for him. He didn't know where he would go or what he would do, but he knew that he couldn't stay here and watch the house be taken without doing anything. He had to leave, find a way to save his mother and protect Tony, even though the road ahead would be full of difficulties. As Hùng stepped outside, he paused for a moment, looking back at the house one last time. Every wall, every corner held irreplaceable memories. But now he had to face the reality that he had to leave behind everything that was once familiar in his life.
Nghe đến đây, Hùng cảm thấy như cả thế giới sụp đổ. Anh không thể tin vào những gì mình đã nghe. Mẹ của anh, người anh luôn kính trọng và yêu thương, lại là kẻ đứng sau âm mưu hãm hại này. Tuy nhiên, trong lòng Hùng vẫn kiên định với pháp luật. Dù là mẹ ruột của mình, anh không thể để vụ án này chìm vào quên lãng. Anh biết rằng nếu không có sự trừng phạt thích đáng, những kẻ hãm hại Hoài Ca sẽ tiếp tục gieo rắc tội ác. Hùng cảm thấy vô cùng mâu thuẫn trong lòng, nhưng quyết định của anh vẫn không thay đổi. Anh sẽ không để bất kỳ ai, dù là người thân, thoát khỏi sự trừng phạt của pháp luật. Câu chuyện của Hoài Ca cũng khiến trái tim anh rung động. Anh rất yêu cô và không thể chấp nhận được những kẻ xấu xa đã âm mưu làm hại cô. Liệu mẹ Hùng có bị đưa ra ánh sáng và nhận sự trừng phạt xứng đáng? Câu trả lời sẽ được hé lộ trong phần tiếp theo. Đừng bỏ lỡ những diễn biến hấp dẫn và căng thẳng trong câu chuyện này.